everybody. We're here in the English room and it's time for another English video. This week we're going to talk about nouns. Nouns are used to identify people, places, or things. So let's get started. Noun. Names a person, place, thing, or idea. There are countable nouns and uncountable nouns. In this video, we will go through the difference of countable and uncountable nouns. Let's start with countable nouns. These are nouns that we can count. These nouns have a singular and a plural form. Let's have a look at the example of an apple. Here we have the singular form of the noun. We can make the plural form by adding s. Apples. Another example is mango. This is the singular form of the noun, and we can make the plural form by adding es. Mangoes. Next thing we need to know. We can use a number, a, or an before the noun. This is for singular countable nouns. For example, we can say, there is an apple. So, we know there is only one apple. Another example is, there is a banana. Again, we know there is only one banana. As you can see from the sentence, the singular verb is has been used. This is another rule of countable nouns. Singular verbs are used with singular countable nouns. On the other hand, when we are describing plural countable nouns, we don't use a or an before the noun. Instead, we can state the number. For example, there are 3 apples. In this sentence, we use the plural verb are. This is another rule of countable nouns. Plural verbs are used with plural countable nouns. There are other ways we can describe the quantity of plural countable nouns. We can use words like few, many, some, a lot of, no. For example, we can say, there are some apples in the basket. So we don't have to always state exactly how many there are. We can just say, there are some. Another example is, there are no apples in the basket. Here is the summary of countable nouns. You need to remember, countable nouns are nouns we can count. These nouns have a singular and plural form. We can use a number, a, or an before the noun. Singular verbs are used with singular countable nouns. Plural verbs are used with plural countable nouns. Now let's have a look at a few examples in a sentence. I would like an apple, please. Those houses look beautiful. There is a school near my house. There are some eggs in the fridge. Now let's go through uncountable nouns. These are nouns we can't count. These nouns are always singular. So we can't add s or es to make the plural form. They are always singular. Another rule is, we don't use a number a or an before the noun. Let's have a look at an example. Cheese. This is an uncountable noun. We can't say, there is a cheese. This is wrong. We can't say there is an cheese. This is also wrong. And we can't say there is one cheese. This is wrong because cheese is uncountable. We can't count how much there is. Instead, we can say there is some cheese. As you can see from the sentence, we are using a singular verb, is. So another rule for uncountable nouns is we always use singular verbs for uncountable nouns. Let's try to use a plural verb and see if it makes any sense. There are some cheese. This is grammatically incorrect. There are other ways we can quantify uncountable nouns. We can say some, much, little, a lot of, no, or not much. So here's a summary of uncountable nouns. Remember, uncountable nouns are nouns we can't count. These nouns are always singular. We don't use a number a or a before the noun. We always use singular verbs for uncountable nouns. Now, let's go through a few examples of uncountable nouns in a sentence. I would like some milk. Can you give me some bread? There is not much information about the hotel. I have a lot of money. It is important to note that there are many exceptions. We can use a number a or an with uncountable nouns when we use another countable noun with it. This may sound confusing, but it will make sense when we go through a few examples. In this example, we are using the noun juice. We know that juice is an uncountable noun because we can't count it. So we can say there is some juice. As you can see, we are using the singular verb is. However, we can quantify this noun using a number if we use another countable noun such as a glass. We can say there are 2 glasses of juice. Here we're using the plural verb are because we are counting the number of glasses, which is a countable noun. Another example is bread. Bread is an uncountable noun, so we can say there is a lot of bread using is, singular verb. However, we can quantify it by saying there are 11 slices of bread. We can count the number of slices. The last thing you need to know is there are nouns that are countable and uncountable. This can become a little more confusing, but it will make sense when we look at some examples. Some nouns can be both countable and uncountable. The meaning changes depending on the context. Let's look at an example. Chicken. There are 5 chickens on the farm. Here we are referring to the type of animal on the farm, and we can count the number of chickens, so it is countable. However, when we use this in a different context, for example, I ate chicken for dinner. In this example, we are referring to the food, which is uncountable. The noun chicken means different things in each example. Glass. I would like a glass of water, please. In this example, we are referring to the container we drink from. We can count the number of glasses, therefore, it is countable. The door is made of glass. In this example, we are referring to the material glass, and not the glass we drink from. It is time for a quiz. Identify whether the underlined noun is countable or uncountable. 1. The children were tired after a long day at school. 2. I like to use organic butter in these cakes I bake. 3. There is some milk in the fridge. 4. My sister loves to bake cookies. 5. We have so many bottles of water in the fridge. How did you do on the quiz? I hope you enjoyed that video. Until next time, bye-bye.